The studio lights burned bright as veteran television host James Calloway leaned forward in his chair, his expression steely as he faced his guest, Karoline Leavitt. The American spotlight had long been his domain, a space where he dissected political narratives, challenged guests, and, more often than not, shaped the national conversation. But tonight, the tides were shifting, and Calloway didn't even realize he was standing on the edge of a cliff. Karoline Leavitt, a young but formidable conservative voice and former White House press secretary, sat across from him, exuding confidence. Her presence alone was enough to ignite controversy, and tonight's topic, media bias, was a battlefield neither of them would retreat from. The mainstream media, Karoline asserted, her voice steady, manipulates narratives under the guise of neutrality. It presents itself as an unbiased source of truth, yet it selectively amplifies certain stories while suppressing others. And that, Mr. Calloway, is the real crisis. Calloway scoffed, a dismissive smirk playing on his lips. Ah, the conservative, victim complex. Always crying foul, always blaming the media instead of taking responsibility. Maybe if conservatives spent less time complaining about being oppressed and more time actually contributing to society, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. Karoline's expression didn't change. She let the weight of his words hang in the air before responding. "Would you like to clarify that statement, Mr. Calloway?" He blinked, suddenly aware of the pit he had dug for himself. The cameras rolled. The audience held their breath. And just like that, his decades-long career was about to crumble. The viral explosion. Within minutes, the moment exploded across social media. The most damning part of Calloway's statement was clipped, stripped of context, and replayed millions of times. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube flooded with outrage. Hashtags like #YouShoe Fire James Calloway and #DU Media Bias Exposed trended worldwide. Sponsors of the American Spotlight wasted no time. Emails flew, boardroom meetings stretched late into the night. By morning, the network released a statement. Effective. Immediately, James Calloway is no longer affiliated with our programming. A career spanning over 2 decades ended in less than 24 hours. The fallout. 2 sides of the storm. While Calloway's downfall sent shockwaves through the industry, Karoline Leavitt remained composed. She refused to comment, neither celebrating nor condemning what had happened. But her silence was louder than any statement she could have made. People took notice. Her influence skyrocketed. Conservative platforms praised her calm demeanor. Mainstream networks invited her for interviews, eager to capitalize on the controversy. But she turned most of them down, appearing only on select outlets that aligned with her views. Meanwhile, Calloway disappeared from the public eye, at least for a time. Calloway's comeback, the birth of a new platform. 3 days after his firing, he re-emerged. A cryptic tweet sent shockwaves through the internet. The truth cannot be silenced. We're just getting started. Attached was a link to the Calloway Report, his newly launched independent news platform. In a slickly produced video, Calloway appeared somber yet determined. "I was fired," he admitted. "Not because I lied, not because I spread misinformation, but because I spoke a truth that made certain people uncomfortable. The media doesn't want a conversation. They want control. But here, on the Calloway Report, we will not be silenced." His message resonated with many who felt disillusioned with traditional media. His following grew overnight, attracting both staunch supporters and curious onlookers. A nation divided. The controversy surrounding Calloway's firing became more than just a news story. It became a cultural battleground. Some argued his firing was justified, a necessary consequence for someone who had crossed the line. Others saw it as yet another example of cancel culture running rampant, where a single misstep could end a career. Debates erupted on television, radio, and social media. Was Callaway's statement truly offensive, or was it blown out of proportion? Should a journalist be fired for one controversial sentence, or was this an overreaction? Even political figures weighed in. Some conservative lawmakers denounced the network's decision, calling it an attack on free speech. Meanwhile, liberal commentators defended the move, arguing that public figures should be held accountable for their words. But amid the chaos, one truth became clear. The landscape of modern media was shifting. The bigger picture Callaway's downfall and reinvention highlighted a deeper issue: the power of social media in shaping narratives. A single moment, taken out of context, could define a person's legacy. The line between accountability and censorship had never been thinner. For Karoline Leavitt, the controversy cemented her status as a rising star in conservative circles. For James Callaway, it was a painful yet eye-opening rebirth, forcing him to navigate the world outside mainstream media. Their paths had diverged, yet they remained connected by that one fateful night. A debate that started as a discussion on media bias but ended as a defining moment in the ever-evolving war for public trust. And so, the battle continued, not just between Callaway and Leavitt, but within every newsroom, every social media platform, and every living room where people questioned who controls the truth